Here.
Kolowski.
Here.
Stady.
Here.
Okay, on the meeting agenda for tonight, we have a presentation scheduled by Brad Kuczynski, the Manistee County Road Commission manager. Hopefully he will be here. Under communications and announcements, item A, the State of Michigan notice of hearing for DTE gas customers. Packet. Department and committee reports. A is Operations Services. That report is in your packet, and I think the part of that is in front of you tonight on the table. Item B is the sewer report from the city. Item C, the DDA minutes and director's report is in your packet. D, no board of review meeting the past month. Item E, the building and grounds committee, those minutes from the August meeting are in your packet. Item F, the planning commission minutes for August are in your packet, as is the zoning administrator's report, item G. H, the personnel committee, those minutes of the meeting held on August 7th is in your packet. I'm sorry, the meeting wasn't August 7th, but anyway, there is a recommendation there from that committee that we need to take action on tonight. And then item I, the Elections Commission did not meet in August, but did meet tonight, so it'll be updated the next board meeting. Item J, the fire department report is in your packet, and there is an item there to take action on, and that is consideration of approval for the local revenue sharing board for the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians and the State of Michigan Gaming Compact 2024 Cycle 2 application form for a grant of compact revenues in the amount of $34,640 for automated CPR device and dual certification gear. Item K, the Zoning Board of Appeals. There was an August meeting, but I'm not sure why that wasn't included in your packet. Unless it was and I missed it, but anybody catch me on that one?
I don't think Linda's got the minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's,
Right
yeah,
at the end of the month.
yeah. Well, yeah, it was the last week of the month, so, in fact, just last week. Okay, under new business, item A is consideration of approval of the presented water connection permit application. Item B is consideration of approval of the presented sewer connection permit application. Item C is discussion of a code compliance or enforcement officer. Item D is discussion of memorial benches at Magoon Creek Park. Item E is discussion of a new streetlight at the corner of Ramona and Meadowwood Drive. And that's all I have, unless there are any additions or changes to that agenda. I would.
There's an I.
That's under consent, I think,
Oh, is
isn't
it?
it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the consent agenda.
If there's nothing
I'll make
else.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Kuczynski, second by Brian Cruz to approve the meeting agenda for tonight. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under the consent agenda for tonight, we have item A, the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 8th of 2024. Item B is the monthly financial report. Item C is approval of the Township General Fund expenditures, which includes the fire department. Those are checks numbered 41787 through 41881. Accounts payable total $57,974.46. Payroll totals $21,119.73 for a grand total of $79,094.19. Item D is approval of the Water Department expenditures, checks numbered 3288 through 3297, totaling $23,888.96. Item E is approval of the sewer operating expenditures, checks numbered 1246 through 1250 and totaling $1,979.47. Item F is approval of the monthly ACH payments to the state of Michigan and the IRS in the amount of $4,467.75. Item G is approval for the Manistee Lions Club to hold their annual White Cane Days on October 4th through the 6th, 2024 at various locations in the township. Item H is approval for the Ragnar Relay, Michigan long distance running race from Traverse City to Muskegon, and that will pass through Filer Township and will be held on September 20th and 21st, 2024. The proceeds will be donated to a designated charity. And then in front of you on the consent agenda, there's an addendum, would be item I. The ZBA members would like to attend the MTA Roles and Functions training, which is online. It's a 3-part series at a cost of $94 per person. If there are no other changes to the consent agenda, I need a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Steggy, second by Koloneski to approve the consent agenda for tonight. Any discussion?
Is that building board, is that 3 people?
Yes. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Okay. Since Brad is not yet here, we'll continue on. If he does show up, we'll come back to him. As noted, there's a notice of a hearing for DTE gas customers that is in your packet. Under Department and Committee reports, Operation Services monthly report is in your packet. Item B, the sewer report from the city is also in your packet. Item C, the DDA minutes and director's report are in your packet. Item E, Building and Grounds Committee's minutes are in your packet. And F, the Planning Commission minutes are in your packet. G, Bob's report, zoning report is in your packet. Item H, Personnel Committee. The Personnel Committee did meet and had some discussion, and they made a recommendation. And that recommendation is to increase the hourly wage of the zoning administrator, Robert Hall, and his hours also. Hourly increase from 20 hours per week to 25 hours per week. His 90-day probationary period was completed on August 7th of 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of the committee.
I'll support that.
Okay, motion by Steggy, support by Brian Cruz to approve the recommendation from the Personnel Committee to increase Bob Hall's hours from 20 to 25 hours per week and his hourly pay to $26 per week.
Per hour.
I'm sorry, per hour. Yeah, $26 per hour. Let's make sure that's right. Any further discussion?
Now, is this going to include for the time being anyway, include the enforcement?
Until such action is taken to
Different,
do otherwise, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Oh,
Do you want to do a roll call on that?
No.
Do you have a question?
effective.
Yeah, his probationary period was completed on August 7th. So, yeah, although that's not included in the motion, I would suggest that we make it retroactive to the completion. I don't know, August
Shall we
7th
make
was
it-
what day of the week?
Make another motion and make it effective August 1?
That would probably be a good way to go. That was a Wednesday, so, yeah, let's do it by motion, and I'll make that motion that we make it effective beginning August 7th, the completion date of his 90-day probationary period.
So then make the increase effective the first of the month?
August
one?
7th. No, I'd say August 7th.
Okay.
I support that.
Motion by Walker, support by Brian Cruz to approve the increase of Bob Hall's pay from $25 to $26 per hour effective August 7th of 2024. Any other discussion?
Were you the second?
I will withdraw my motion, which was already seconded,
Well, we've already got a motion on the floor that we're doing it this way.
but there was one on there already that had been,
There was one that we voted in your
No.
motion.
did we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize we did, okay.
Yeah, we
Support
did. Yeah, it was
raise.
approved, but
Okay.
it,
You're doing it,
His
okay.
is
never
for
mind.
the pay.
it just,
I
this
misunderstood.
Yeah, it
states,
just went by us before, we voted.
yeah, the
before we-
probationary employment period was completed on that date, but we didn't say
Okay, I got
that
it.
we'd make the pay retroactive to that date. So this next motion does that. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item J, Fire Department. That report is in your packet, and Jim is looking for approval to make the grant application to the local revenue sharing board for a grant amount of $34,640 for automated CPR device and dual certification gear. And I guess I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second it.
Motion by Walker, second by Dean Cruz, to approve the Township Fire Department going to the local revenue sharing board for the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians 2024 Cycle 2 application form for a grant for compact revenues in the amount of $34,640 for automated CPR device and dual certification gear. Any discussion?
Good luck.
Yeah.
Jim, is this all or no, is it, you get all of this or you get none of
It
it?
depends on what they decide to do. It's a shot in the dark, and depends on, I don't know how much money they got this cycle. Okay? That depends on how much they're giving out. So we prioritize the items, with the Lucas being number one priority, in the dual gear as second priority.
Okay.
The Lucas, it runs about $20,000.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in,
Maybe we better do a
you want to do a roll call? All right, go ahead.
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Brian Cruz,
Yes.
Paul, yes, Kaczynski,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Steggy,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. Okay, under new business, item A is consideration of approval of the presented water connection permit application. Just a little background, we didn't really have an application, a water connection application as part of our package of water fees, rates and so forth. And so we got a little bit of input from Brian Sousa, Wade Trum, and the application form that's in your packet. And I'm sorry, let me stop right there for a minute. I forgot about your report, your monthly report, Jim, and just back up to that. That is in your packet. I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that.
Just that there's a request in the report to approve the adding
New member.
Oh, new member, yeah,
the new member, I drew like Rawlings,
yes,
Madeline Rawlings,
yes.
to our roster. We bring our roster to 11.
And she is EMS trained.
She's EMS trained as of right now.
Well, we could do that right after the water connection.
Let's just deal with this right now, get it done. Since it's part of our monthly reports, you didn't have anything to add to this other than that, then?
No, just
Okay.
that.
So we need a motion to approve, including Madeline Rawlings on
I'll make
the
that motion.
department.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Brian Cruz, second
Okay, well,
by,
wait, now I gotta go back and find it, so I got spellings and all that.
okay, here. Motion by Brian Cruz and second by Kalinowski to approve adding Madeline Rawlings to the fire department roster. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
As EMS?
She has
Coming on
EMS
as
certification.
Just onto the roster, not specific to EMS. Because she's going to fire training too. So.
She's what, Jim?
She will be going to fire training also.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
So she'll be a dual member, okay. Okay, vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All set?
That's it.
Okay, so back to new business, item A, water connection permit application. So in your packet is an example, or is the application that we kind of came up with, working with Wade Trum. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look at that, but going over it, I felt like it had all the necessary information. So when someone like now, the new dental office wants to, once they're constructed, make application to get water service. We've got a permit application on file.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Ball, second by Steggy to approve the presented water connection permit application. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Likewise, on item B, we didn't have anything for sewer connection permit application, and again, working with Wade Trim, and he sent actually 3 or 4 examples from some other municipalities. Tammy Googled and came up with one, and this is kind of what we came up with, and it includes a lot of the items that were in the permit applications that we looked at.
I'll make a motion that we accept the one that I'll second you guys agreed on.
Okay, motion by Brian Cruz, second by Dean Cruz to approve the presented sewer application permit, the sewer connection permit application that's in your packets. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under item C, discussion of a code compliance or enforcement officer. I've had discussions on a couple of occasions with Bob Hall regarding this, and then more recently, or most recently, about 2 weeks ago, we talked about it quite a bit in depth, and I guess my feeling about this is that there are some things that need to be done for him to take action on violations, and for him to be out doing some of that is, I think is kind of a waste of manpower, good manpower and time on his part. For example, not long after he came on board, he asked me, what are some of the hot spots in the township in terms of ordinance violations and so forth that need to be addressed. And so I kind of made up a list, and then we set a time to get together and go for a ride and looked at all those. And I gave him about, I want to say it was 17 or 18 locations, and kind of gave him the background on a lot of it. And of course he had questions. We talked about things, and then some of it I went out and took pictures, and then of the particular location after we'd already gone through and just looked at them from the street, and so I sent those pictures to him, and he said that was very helpful, and that's kind of what needs to be done. But using his expertise and knowledge and time for doing those kinds of things, I think we get more bang for our buck if he's doing the ordinance interpretation end of it and the legal end of it, and we have somebody else that can do that kind of a thing. For example, long grass and weeds, that's an issue every year, and you see it just driving by. But there are locations that he doesn't get to, obviously. So we talked about that, and he said that other municipalities go that route, and he is working with some townships that has he likes to call it a compliance officer as opposed to an enforcement officer. But at any rate, I asked him if he felt that that would be, you know, a valuable assist to him, and he said yes. You know, but again, it would, you know, you've got to get the right person to do that, somebody that wants to do it and that, you know, would fit the bill well. So we had that discussion. I talked a little bit with Shirley about it, and then she pointed out that, you know, we have a description here for zoning administrator and ordinance enforcement officer. It's rolled into one, and that's the way it's been done. I know Lynn used to spend a lot of time in the field. Well, I don't want to say a lot of time, but she spent time in the field going out and gathering data, pictures, etc., taking notes. And I don't know how much Larry did that, and actually in the field. I'm sure he did some of it. But at any rate, that's kind of where we're at. And so, and I think if I remember right, Bob mentioned that also in his report that's in your packet.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, compliance officer, he mentions that and I think recommends that. So that's why I wanted to bring this to the board for some input and discussion to see if we want to go that route. You know,
These that he did this month in August are, there aren't any special use permits, oh wait, short-term rental, no. There are nothing other than land use permits here. Nothing like a special use permit that would take more time. And not every month is alike,
right.
so,
Now,
and he did have some time that he wasn't here some days.
How
yeah,
much are we talking? Like a couple hours a week?
yeah, I don't know how much it would be, Brian, right off.
It would vary on the,
I'm sure it would vary, but I can't imagine it would be
Couple, 3 hours a week, probably.
a few hours a week.
I think it'd be wise to have
A few
somebody.
hours a
I
week.
think it's
do
gonna be
that.
more than a few hours a week.
But it depends. Some weeks it might be 1 hour or not, and others it might
Yeah,
be 5, 6.
And you get somebody in the township that's familiar with the township,
Here, and not from
right?
50 miles away.
It's gonna make
not
a big
helpful.
difference.
Somebody brought it up once, like that, was it that Skipsky or whatever his name was that did,
Yeah, but
He was,
if we're gonna use his name.
he was a constable, he was interested in doing like blight enforcement or
Kevin
something.
Skipsky.
Who?
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah,
And,
and he's currently, I think he's still a police officer in Hart, I believe.
but I mean,
But-
just someone like that, that name
Yeah,
came up,
Yeah,
that would
Should this,
be good.
should this discussion, when we're talking about, we got two people that are very both qualified, should we not be with the speaker, like in closed session or so?
No, I don't think that's something you could go into closed session.
Okay.
for.
I'm just curious.
Well,
Getting any kind
yeah,
of-
and
We're just talking about a roadmap here of what we might
yeah,
want to.
you know, in response to your question, Brian, I think not only having somebody from the township that's familiar with the township, that's going to be, you know, they're going to be able to kind of hit the ground running on it.
yeah.
And ones that they can't, you know, after doing that for a period of time, you're going to become familiar with some of the areas that, that need attention, let's say. And I just, to me, it makes more sense to have somebody that doesn't have the qualifications to do the things that the zoning administrator needs to do.
Yeah.
Well, you have to have a good understanding of the ordinance, so pretty much you've got to have a lot of
Well,
familiarity with everything to be able to even do it.
Bob can go tell him, we'll check the heave height of that
yeah,
building.
I think too, you know, we get complaints I mean, I know I have people that will approach me and, you know, I've got a complaint, I don't want my name mentioned, but would you look at this or that? And yeah, and I go look at it. If I get a complaint, you know, and you're that guy, I can say, hey, Brian, go take a look at such and such an address and see what's going on in the way of
Fence or is fence height or lights.
Roof falling in or,
Yeah.
you know, something unsafe. And then report your findings to Bob.
Bottom line, I think however you do it, I think we should have someone besides Bob or not Bob doing it. Leave Bob do, like you said, his professional work and his legal work or his paperwork, what he has to do with zoning.
Yeah, I mean, he does spend a lot of time on paperwork and also then really digging into the ordinances. I mean, he's got a lot of familiarity with ordinance because he's been doing this for 20-some years, but every municipality, you know, there's differences in the ordinances, and so he still has to go in and research and read and make sure that, you know, he's dealing with the right information. So, Joe? Comment?
Is the zoning ordinance, is that part of the code of ordinances in the township?
Yes,
Yeah.
Don't we have a contract with the sheriff's department to
For the
enforce?
police
For the
power.
police power, just for the police power ordinances. These would be things that don't fall under police power.
these are things like Lynn did and Helen did before her and
So who has the authority then to write somebody a ticket?
the zoning administrator right now.
Well, it's the sheriff's department.
Well, depending on the kind of violation that it is, yeah.
It's even like when you were here, you know, Lynn did it all. And now they're talking about perhaps taking the enforcement part and giving that to a different individual.
Not the enforcement part. Zoning administrator would still be the enforcer. It would be the information gathering. Is there a violation here? What kind of a violation is it?
Well, then you don't want you don't want an enforcement officer, you want somebody to work
See,
with
it's
the
the
zoning
enforcement
administrator.
compliance officer.
I guess, yeah, compliance would be better because you're looking at, is there compliance or is there lack of compliance?
Yes.
Who would take those findings to the zoning
To the
administrator.
zoning administrator who would
Yeah, you
then
probably
enforce.
want to come up with the
the
right kind
ordinance.
of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that would be the duties.
You need somebody to go out, take pictures, do the groundwork.
Yeah, a very good point, because he's not here, he's
The
50 miles
legwork.
away.
Yeah, exactly, and that 2 days a week, I mean, he could come in on a Monday and have something on his desk, you know, pictures or whatever, or a written report of observations made, et cetera, and then he can follow up on it.
So since his original thing encompasses both, would you need to make changes to what his duties are and have a separate one then for this new person?
Yeah, I don't know, I guess I would want interpretation on this, Tom, in relation to that question. You know, is this it doesn't say, is this a job description? Is it a policy?
No,
What is
it's a
it?
job description, that's what
So-
Lynn wrote up before she left.
Okay, so if that's a job description, then I guess the answer to your question would be, no, we just change the job description, which we can do, and create another position and write a job description for that. You know, obviously with input from Bob Hall. But that's the way I'm looking at it, so I guess if you've got your own thoughts or other thoughts, opposing thoughts, now, you know, I just want to get this discussion going to see if this is something that we should pursue.
I think we should.
Well, I think it doesn't sound like he wants to do both, or has time to do both, so we've got to make some kind of a choice.
And I, you know, I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm not saying that he doesn't want to do both or won't do both. It's just to, I guess, make things a little bit more streamlined and smoother for him to focus on things that he's got the special background and training and experience to really hone in and focus on, and the things that don't require that same level of experience and same level of training and so on, if we can get help on those areas.
If you did get somebody for this position, is he gonna show them the ropes on this type of?
I'm sure he would have, I would ask him, yeah, to kind of take the lead on what it is you're looking for from this individual, and training, guidance.
We would answer to Bob.
Yeah, they'd answer to Bob, and I mean, it's kind of what I did with his, you know, I just offered, you know, can I do some of this for you to assist you to alleviate some of the legwork? And he said, yeah, if you want to, that would be helpful. So, you know, because I'm out and around the township a lot every week.
Are you saying you want to do that job?
No, I didn't say that. No, that's not what I said. Don't put words in my mouth.
I asked. No, I think it's a good idea.
Well,
Why don't you take that description there
yeah,
and sit down with him
yeah,
and see how you can divide up those duties
yeah,
in two.
I was reading this over, and some of the things that, you know, really caught my eye here, and I thought, I don't want Bob spending time on that.
Still have to come up with a salary then too.
Yeah, and I think the initial step, though, will be to sit down with Bob and just discuss this a little bit further and go over this, and maybe have him add what are the duties that he's looking for in this person, what would it entail, and also maybe some suggestions for what kind of time might that amount to, and what, I mean, we'll have to make the final decision, but what might that be worth to have, you know, an hourly salary put on it, or an hourly pay put on it. So, yeah, I'll pursue that with Bob and then get back to the board on it.
Good.
I think you probably need to have Richard look at it also.
Yeah,
Because there's a big difference between a compliance officer and going onto somebody's property, take photos, and the legal zoning administrator,
Right.
enforcement officer.
Yeah,
There's a big
exactly.
difference there, and you could get into some liability issues.
exactly. It may involve
You know,
some
making
language
this
that would
individual
allow that.
assistant zoning administrator, which then gives him the
Yeah,
authority
yeah.
of the
That's-
zoning administrator's office. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's, I know either Tim or Richard will weigh in on it and make those kind of recommendations, so, yeah. And maybe at the same time, this whole thing might get a revision and brought back to the board for review and approval. Okay, I will follow through on that and report back. Let's see. Okay, item D is discussion of memorial benches at Lagoon Creek Park. I came to the board with a request about a year ago from the Kelleher's for a memorial bench for their son Chris, and that kind of got dropped by them, and this, so I would say probably about 2 months ago, Chris's sister Katie got in touch with me. She lives in Florida now, and long story short, we spoke on the phone, we texted, we emailed back and forth, and then I met with her and her sister, and her parents out at Magoon. They were, she told me her parents wanted a bench down on the water, which, you know, we got into a discussion about storms and storm damage and the history and that sort of thing, and we came up with an agreeable location for them. I think it would be a really nice location, and so and I sent them information that they could pursue on their own in terms of bench and a memorial for the bench and that sort of thing. And so they're working on that now, and the last communication I got from Katie was that they may not get it done this year yet, but if not, then by spring they'd be ready to put it in. And in the meantime, I had another request from a member of Karen Larson's family, and Julie, and so I communicated with her that the procedure was to get board approval for a memorial bench, and then meet with me on site out there and choose an appropriate location and all that, go through, and that it'd be their responsibility, the cost of the bench and any memorial that they wanted to attach to the bench and all that information, and choosing a site. So the reason for this tonight is just to get approval to move forward for the family of Karen Larson.
Karen Pomeroy.
Well, Karen Pomeroy. Yeah, I'm sorry, Karen Larson was her maiden name. Yeah, Karen Pomeroy, to place a memorial bench out at Lagoon for her.
Why don't we were there, the three of us drove down there to look at that site, and it is a good site. You can see the water and everything.
That was for the Kelleher bench.
Right, well, okay, what I'm driving at now is, call it a pocket park off that walkway, put the benches next to each other, or three of them, when another one comes, set it up so those benches are next to each other, so if a group were to come, you'd have three or four people sitting on one bench and three or four sitting here,
Yeah.
maybe three or four sitting there observing.
Yeah.
Put them together so that we don't have them cluttered all over.
Yeah, well, and part of my discussion tonight, I wanted to get into that a little bit. When do we eventually get to the point where we have to start saying no? What Tom's talking about for the Keller bench, we picked a location so it's not down on the water's edge, on the beach or anything. But it's on that main path that goes down to the creek mouth, and it's not all the way down, but you're down low enough, and you have a beautiful view out to Lake Michigan. There's a clump of birch trees there that's real nice, but the neat thing is one of our 5 giant sequoias is within about 30 feet of that site. And so like I told Katie, 30, 40 years from now, people are going to be sitting on that bench, and there's going to be hopefully a 60 to 70 foot high giant sequoia there, and they just love that site. And Tom's idea, if there's more than 3 or 4 people together that need a place to sit and rest before they get all the way down, having a couple benches close together might not be a bad idea. The thing that's been in my mind lately is at the rate these requests have been coming in and may continue to come in, we don't want to park just full of benches side by side. At some point, I think I'm going to suggest, and I know a number of people have commented about how their loved one loved to hike the trails out there. It wouldn't be a bad idea, the 2.5 miles of hiking trails, we have to have, a couple benches along the trails where people walking the trails can stop and rest. And then the other thing, we have, I know 3 for sure, and I'll have to go up and check again, it might be 4, wooden benches that the township built. And our employee has to, sand,
Start replacing.
clean, paint every couple of years, and so start replacing those with the nice permanent benches that will last. And then also I want to start recommending, if people are interested, we have a couple of wooden benches overlooking the lake at Magoon Creek Park on either side of the trail that goes down. And those could be replaced, those wooden benches could be replaced with these recycled plastic benches. And then maybe even 1 or 2 benches between the parking lot and those benches, because that's I don't know what it is, it's a pretty good hike down there though. For somebody with any health issues or somebody elderly, they might appreciate a bench to stop and rest on partway down, so.
How about a memorial picnic table? What are those?
Well, that's a possibility too.
Because they make them, maintenance.
Oh yeah, they make the picnic benches, that's like what we have on the overlook, there's recycled plastic.
It's in the woods, there's
Handicap accessible.
old ones, pretty rough ones, nowhere. As you go north along the beach, up on the hill.
I don't think we've got any. Now we do under I believe under the pavilion there, I think those are, if memory serves me right, I think those are wooden benches. One is the handicap accessible. I don't think those are, but those could be replaced with, even though they're protected under there, but they have to be refinished at some point in time.
I'll make a motion that we, okay, based on your location, you come up with the family for Karen Pomeroy bench.
I'll
Do they
support
have-
it.
Do they have to come to us with the design that they have? Isn't that the way we did it? And then we approved the design?
Well, we haven't been doing that because they've all the ones we've had done, like the memorial bench for Ed, the memorial bench for Smokey. I know there's 2 or 3 memorial benches out there, and I don't remember the names, but family members of a loved one. Those have all been the same type of recycled plastic construction. They may not be identical, in the benches, but I've kind of left it to, I'll give them catalog information, company information, websites they can look at, and then show me what you're ordering before you order it. So if it's of the same nature as what's there, same types of benches, I've just been saying, go ahead.
So what is your motion going to be?
My motion is to allow Pomeroy's to come up with a bench and location with Terry and a foundation, because you're having them on a foundation of some sort.
Yeah.
Authorize,
And I
To do
supported that.
and Tommy's.
But
Yeah, and this foundation may be different, some of
Okay,
the
you
ones
said
that we
individual
have,
for each foot,
yeah,
or some might be the whole pad.
right. The ones up in the park have been, most of those have been placed on a concrete pad. Some with the memorial plaque in the concrete itself, and some on the bench.
And the family's paying for it, so.
Okay. Just a thought, if we want this to be like a pocket park, we want benches of the same kind, and if we put 2 of them in, we might as well put 3 of them in, so that if we take a cement truck down there and do pads, at least you gotta deliver, you gotta use so much. And the township would actually pay for, if we do 3, the township would pay for one, the 2 parties would pay for each theirs, and if we get another request, we would be able to allow them to put a plaque on our, like if we put 3 in there, and we would have a contractor come in and do it and let them do it in thirds.
Tom, I just don't want to get too many down there because it is a natural area, and there are a lot of people that use that park, a lot of people that live out there that don't like some of the stuff we're doing, and I've had a lot of questions with the autumn olive removal.
No, I know you did.
Concerns about that, and
Because they'll bring that up every time.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree, I don't think another bench down there would, would hurt anything. But I don't want to get too carried away with benches down at that lower location and concrete pads. What I talked with them about was concrete footings for each leg, a footing for each leg, which I think would serve the same purpose. It could be, it could be bolted down to that footing with the proper.
I'm kind of looking for continuity more than anything, so that they're the same.
Yeah,
Well, if we did buy another bench, if we bought that third bench,
well, we're not buying any benches.
but if we did, if we bought his third bench, then we could just allow people to put a name tag on, many name tags on that bench.
Okay, that's a thought. Another thing that's come up and I thought was a good idea also, to have some sort of a plaque, this is looking a few years into the future, long after we're gonna be in these positions probably, but if we continue to get lots of requests, then another way to deal with it might be to establish a memorial plaque at some location with names inscribed on that plaque, with donations in memory of that sort of a thing. So we're still able to recognize, people are able to memorialize their loved ones, and because at some point we're going to run out of room. We want it to remain a beautiful park,
Yeah, we
natural
don't
park.
want all bunch
Right,
of.
we don't want bench, and I don't think anybody's going to want that. And so it's,
Just for information, when we were out doing roads, we pulled in there and we drove down. There were some people walking from Flint. They had heard about picking glass stones and stones on the beach. They drove from Flint to Magoon Creek to look for stones. I said, it's so popular you might not find anything because they might have picked
Pick
it
clean,
all.
hey?
Sooner or later, picking's gonna not be as good,
and yet this past weekend, my sister and brother-in-law from Florida and sister and brother-in-law from Arizona were up, and we went out to Moon, went down there, and I said, a lot of people love to look for beach glass and Petoskey stones out there, and they started looking, and one sister right away found a piece of beach glass and also a Petoskey stone. I've looked, I haven't found any, but they did right away.
I mean, it's popular.
It's
There
very
were
popular.
articles about Magoon Creek in the Grand Rapids paper, and
Yeah, very, very
Well,
popular.
you go down there and talk to people, and they're from all over.
Yeah, you see license plates from all over the Midwest and the East. I've seen plates, yeah. So we've got a motion on the floor.
Okay, so we're gonna
Second.
allow the Pomeroys to come up with a bench design and present it to you for approval.
Yep.
Right.
Location.
Location.
I seconded that.
Yeah,
I did.
okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And I will, I guess, probably have further discussion and keep you all updated then if we get repetitive requests then on maybe doing another bench down in that lower area.
Yeah, I don't think 3 are too many, but that's up to the board.
Okay, moving on to item E, discussion of streetlight at the corner of Ramona and Meadowwood Drive. I did have a request from a homeowner off from Meadowwood that a request for a streetlight. There's not one there. They said it would be nice to have one. It's dark when they make that turn. I went out and looked. There is, I can't remember the name of the loop there at the other end. Timber Ridge. There's one at that intersection, and there's also one at the intersection of Yoder and Ramona. But there's not one at Meadowwood in Ramona.
It is dark there.
Yeah, it is dark, and this request actually came in some time ago, but with the hang-ups we had on getting the one located at the intersection of Bittersweet and Red Apple, At the time that the road construction was being done and all that, I didn't even want to start this one yet, so I kind of put it off. So this is the request that I'm asking for approval.
We put that line.
No, we have to get that resolution from consumers.
Yeah, they'll send
Vote
a,
on that.
yep. So if Brian's making a motion to
See
approve.
that resolution.
Pursue the resolution.
yeah.
From
I'll second
consumers.
this.
Okay, so motion by Brian Cruz, second by Kolonowski to reach out to consumers to get the resolution and location established to start the process for a street light at the intersection of Ramona and Meadowwood Drive. Any other discussion?
Is there a power pole there?
Yes, there is a electric pole right on that corner.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment?
Any word on 23rd Street? I know they went to court.
Yeah, yep, and that's all I know. I'll probably be talking with Bob about that Thursday this week when he's in again, where that's at. I know there's been discussion with the township attorney on that, and that, he's done paperwork, started the process, where it's at right now, because that's been a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I know shortly after we talked, Jim, I went and I did take pictures and he asked me to send them to him in an email so that he could start the paperwork on them, so that's all I can tell you right now. Anything else?
I got it.
Okay, anything else before the board tonight then? Tom, you got something?
Yeah, I see the sidewalks are pretty much completed. Did we get a final bill on that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not yet. And I want to,
did see one spot where it's only about 4 or 5 feet where the dirt wasn't brought against the side. I know they were doing that, and maybe when I went by, they just hadn't gone back, but let's have Paul double check. And it won't take them but 15 minutes to fill that in, so somebody don't trip off that side.
yeah, well, I've been kind of checking on it about every other day, because a couple weeks ago, when the concrete work was done, and there was still a lot of, like that, and some of those have been smoothed out now, rounded off, and just need to be seeded. And I will have Paul do the seeding that, but there was still a couple that I think need to be sloped a little bit, yeah.
The next thing is whatever developed with the Ferry Road, when they did the scraping, when we were stopped there by Shoe's house. And the scraping that the road.
Oh, Cherry, yeah,
On Cherry.
yeah, I thought you said Carrie, I'm sorry.
Nobody ever get back?
After we took that ride, I sent the list to Brad in an email, asking him to, get back to us in terms of if our suggestions for the type of work there were appropriate, or if they would recommend something else. And then I also brought up the issue with the residents' concerns there and asked about hydro seeding. And that was, when were we out there? What day last week?
Monday.
Monday? Okay.
Okay, now they said they put seed down, but.
Yeah,
since then
and
I
I've been
thought-
back out there since too, and some of them to me, don't appear to be any different than when we went by. So I'd have to go back and look at the email, what day I sent it. I want to say it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And then I didn't get a reply. And so Friday morning, I thought, okay, I'm going to either call or whatever, get in touch with. And then I remembered it's Friday and they're still on the summer hours, 4 days a week. So I had gotten phone confirmation that Brad was going to be here tonight. And so I've got our list here, basically what I sent in the email. So I haven't heard back from him, and I thought that would be part of our discussion tonight. So I will be calling him tomorrow with that and, you know, a number of other items.
Coming down 55 today, it looks like the road commission went at least 3 passes into the shoulder on 55, and I know they get reimbursed for taking care of a state highway, which is 55. Now, out by us on the highway, they only made 1 pass.
You talking about cutting grass and or trees?
Well, I don't know about the trees so much, that's.
Well, I know they've done some of
but the
that on
grass.
55,
The
trees.
guy goes by with the brush hog behind and he's
Yeah.
got the arm. And I grant you, there's signs and stuff to lock it, those reflectors. But if they're doing 55, why couldn't they do a couple of the sections that would help save deer car accidents? Because those deer are in that ditch and that
Yeah.
grass is so tall they don't see them. Whereas if it was cut, they'd see them. And, you know, they're reimbursed anyhow.
31 south to county line?
Well, there's not a whole lot, but yes, from 31 south to county line, there's not a whole lot in there.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, I can bring that up too, but I definitely want to get answers to the questions that I sent him in an email and the questions that were, the things that were going to come up tonight. So I have not talked with him.
Where did we come out on the complaint about, we were gonna contact the DNR on the fire pits?
Bob was there, and I haven't had any further discussion with him. I did contact the DNR that same day on their burn permit site, and just got a whole menu of, you know, numbers
Person
to
to
push.
talk to.
No person to
Okay.
talk to, so,
Okay.
yeah, I want to see if Bob got any further on that.
Okay,
Yeah. And I've been back by there a couple more times, and,
okay, that's one spot, but the other spot where the complainee was,
yeah, I haven't seen anything on Linwood.
okay.
I haven't noticed anything there, and I've, you know, driven that a couple of times, so.
Okay. That's it for me, I guess.
Okay, Brian?
Nothing.
Tom?
What's going on with that stuff down at the old, on Nelson Street as you come in from the BP station, with people living there? and what?
That's what we're talking about now.
Oh,
It's the location
That's
Tom's
exactly what
talking
we're
about, yeah.
There's no power, there's no water.
I know.
They're
Yeah.
going to the neighbors and taking his, the guy doesn't like it, his water.
We've had several complaints from there, and Bob did go on site and had a discussion with the gentleman there, although he said the vocabulary was quite limited. If you follow my drift.
Well, they've been cutting down trees down there too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and I
that's-
believe they are cutting on Blarney Castle.
That's
They
what
cut it
I'm
all
thinking.
down. Hey, Tom, they cut every one of them. There's no trees left back
In the center. Did they go all the way into Blarney Castle's property?
there. Yeah,
Yeah, see?
Is Blarney Castle aware?
there's 3 of the neighbors. are
Probably not.
asking
I
me
did
if
tell the manager about it, to have them look into it. Now, whether she did or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they had a sign up their firewood. I guess he didn't pay them.
Well, they had a big truck go back in there and load up a bunch of big, huge stuff to take out. I had to wait for the truck to back in there, coming in one day.
Hmm.
So.
They going in at that location where that house is being
Right there, where the house
occupied?
was. They had a big, huge logging truck
Really?
backed in there.
Today, Tom, or
No,
another
this
day?
was last week.
Oh,
When they
Well,
first
and they
started
could-
to see cutting.
Yeah, I mean, it's possibility that the owner of that parcel, Safe Harbor
Safe
LLC,
Harbor Homes, yeah.
may have given permission for that, but they're local, you know. gotta
Well, they
believe
can cut down on their own property, fine, but if they're going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
McCarthy's property,
but now, Tom, you could maybe verify if that's a land contract and Pearl's name is still on that title. She'd have to know you know, they could come in there and cut with the option to buy, because they really only own that house. That one time, they didn't own the rest of the property. That's like 3.5 acres there.
Yeah, I know, it's 2 parcels, but I think they're both in Safe Harbor Lane.
Okay,
But yeah, it's just kind of weird, you know?
Yeah.
There's a little fire out there and
Yeah.
they're burning some stuff.
Yep, and I've seen clothes hanging on the line,
Oh,
and
yeah,
yet there's
They cook on the grill.
supposedly not water to that.
No, there isn't, well, there's,
Township.
we understand there's like 3 different parties.
yeah, it kind of looks that way.
I don't know, a lot of neighbors.
Well,
used to, you know.
yeah, and I do have a name to follow up with on, with the sheriff department on that, so we'll see.
But, just-
George, you got anything else?
No?
Dale?
I'm getting a lot of nice compliments on our road work that we've completed.
Oh, well,
I
good.
mean,
Complaints or compliments?
well, no, not complaints, no, just say, wow, the township fixing all the roads.
I get the complaints.
Oh, I've got some positive.
Oh, I'll get a couple of them, but I don't bring them over.
Yeah, I've had some complaints. And
No,
some of them I think are
not about the
legitimate.
roads you haven't, have you?
No, not about
Complaints
the,
in general.
not
Just
the
in
road
general.
itself, the asphalt, but,
I heard a little bit when they cut out those.
If what the road commission is telling us they're gonna be able to do, we're gonna be able to spread our money a whole lot further. You're gonna see a lot more roads getting fixed up. Yeah, because
That's-
if they're, what they're telling us, they're putting equipment together to do, we could take a 200-foot spot that's really bad, cut it off, repair it, and then it'll look, you know, we'll be able to do a whole lot more with money we have.
yeah, for example, what Tom's talking about is chip seal. They're gonna be able to start doing a lot of that in-house to, you know, extend the life of some of our roads, and, you know, he said, we can do that in-house, and you won't have to be spending money for that, and extend the life of the road 5 more years, 7 more years, and so
Well, the expense has gone away.
that's, you know, then we can, for, you know, the
If
more
we can extend the life.
wedging and overlay and that sort of thing, put our money into that, it would be good. I'm glad to hear that there's some positive comments. Dean, you got anything else?
I really don't have anything except that at my 60th graduation party, they all talking about those people in that little house. Because the guy whose parents owned it died just recently with his wife.
Are you talking the Nelson Street
That
location?
one.
Okay. It's been getting a lot of attention lately. I will, I'll follow up with both Bob on that and the sheriff's office and I think in the health department as well. So, and that's, I don't have anything else for tonight, so
We'll get together before then.
motion for adjournment.
I make the motion.
I'll support that.
Motion by Dean Cruz, second by Brian Cruz to adjourn. All those in favor?
13th.
Aye.
Big rap.
Opposed?
You gotcha?
Meeting
Say
adjourned.
now?
Well, now you can take